Happy Friday, everyone. Meteorologist Brittany Trumpy here. I hope you are having a great end to your week. We are seeing a little bit of an active pattern set up across our area for this week ahead, or at least for this weekend. Some chances for some rain, some chances for some snow, depending on where you're at, because we have kind of a classic setup. If we look at our big picture graphic, you can see what I'm talking about. We have two troughs and a ridge. Those troughs are positioned over the west coast and the east coast, with two different low pressure systems kind of extending off of them, helping to add a lot of moisture to the East Coast and California. What we're going to be looking at is this pattern staying, well, kind of stubborn. Not a lot changing over the next couple of days. Where that ridge is kind of parked is where it's going to be staying. The only difference is going to be the trough over the East Coast continuing to kind of lose some of its oomph. It's going to become a little less deep, but really that jet stream sitting over the central U.S., that is not going anywhere anytime soon. Now, the West Coast continues to see the trough kind of deepen, bringing a lot of rain to the Baja Peninsula and portions of California. There is going to be some moisture along the Great Lakes and for the East Coast. As some of that moisture kind of moves away from the West Coast, it's going to ride along that ridge and give us a chance for some showers. Here's that setup again. We're really not seeing that ridge or that upper level system move at all. It just kind of stays parked, kind of splitting the difference between kind of the Great Lakes and down towards Kentucky and Tennessee. That moisture is just riding along that track, making its way across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast. And you can kind of see that setup. Our first system, this low pressure system off to the west, that's going to pretty much move just due east along that upper air track. It's going to give us a chance for some pretty significant storms and heavy rain for portions of northern Illinois, Indiana, southern Michigan. Meanwhile, on that northern portion where we have some of the cooler air, we'll be seeing a little bit of a wintry mix and some snow. This is going to be sort of repetitive in the way that our stationary front sets up along that ridge, and then one low after the next kind of rides along it for this weekend, giving us another shot at some showers and maybe even some thunderstorms for, once again, Illinois, Indiana, into Ohio. Up towards the north, you might be seeing a little bit of a wintry mix once again for parts of the Dakotas, but really just kind of a repetitive pattern. So looking in, again, kind of north of Minnesota and up towards Canada, that's where we have some of that cooler air. Well, you're just going to see that moisture kind of ride along that upper level jet stream, moving across the Great Lakes. Again, further to the south where the temperatures are a little bit warmer, you'll be dealing with a little bit more rain. That entire system continues to move pretty much due east, taking aim at the northeast. Still a little bit of a wintry mix and an opportunity for some snow for portions of northern Michigan, kind of stretching down towards almost upstate New York, but does look to be mostly just a rain event for areas kind of further to the south. The reason for this being mostly a rainmaker, well, it's going to be the warmer air. We're seeing temperatures back up into the 70s for a big portion of the Midwest. Meanwhile, further to the north, up towards Minneapolis, they're seeing those temperatures in the 40s this afternoon. That'll kind of be the trend for the next couple of days. Again, because that ridge is just sitting there, not really going anywhere. We're allowing that warm air to kind of lift up all the way through till about central Ohio, stretching up towards Chicago, keeping those temperatures in the 70s for your Saturday, and then kind of the same setup for your Sunday. What's interesting about Sunday is the extremely sharp temperature cutoff right where that stationary front sets up. You're going to be seeing those temperatures closer into the 80s for Wichita and St. Louis. Meanwhile, just a couple of miles to the north up towards Chicago and Omaha, you'll be seeing those temperatures in the 40s and 50s. So a big change over not a big geographic location, but just because of how stubborn that ridge is and that stationary front, we're not going to see things changing too much over the next few days. So there is an opportunity for some snow showers. Again, a lot of that is going to be up across northern Wisconsin and Minnesota. Chance for some snow for portions of Maine, but it really does look to be mostly a rain event for areas along the Great Lakes. Now, there are some models hinting at some of those higher totals thanks to lake effect impacts or elevation impacts kind of stretching for West Virginia as well as for New York. But overall, I think that model is a little heavy-handed, and we're going to be dealing with more of just a rain event. As far as what we're looking at long term, there is opportunity for some cooler weather to move into the southeast. You can see stretching from New Jersey down towards Florida. There's an opportunity for things to kind of cool down a little bit. Meanwhile, out towards the central United States, Minneapolis, out towards Colorado, down towards Texas, they're going to be seeing a pretty significant warm up, or the potential for one. Vice versa for the West Coast, they could be a little bit cooler once they get some of that moisture out of that way and they start to see that trough continue to kind of deepen. They could be seeing some cooler weather. Okay, that's your regional video forecast for your Friday. I will be seeing you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend.